few years ago, I was invited to join a priest friend of mine for kind of one of these formal fundraising dinners, and it was on a Sunday night, and uncharacteristically, I arrived a little early. Some of us might consider that in coming to church. I arrived a little early, and he was saying Mass. He was doing the 5 o'clock Mass on Sunday evening. So I thought, oh, this will be fun. I can listen to my friend give a homily. I'd never heard him preach. So I thought, oh, this will be good. Now, I was all dressed up in my formal, priestly attire. And so I sat in the very back pew, in the last pew. And that was the pew for the ushers. And when I sat there, they looked over and said, oh, good evening, Father. What are you doing here? I said, well, I'm supposed to go to this dinner with your pastor, and I'm a little early, so, I just thought I'd enjoy listening to his homily. And they said, oh, well, good, because we're short, and you can help us take up the collection. I said, I can't do that. Number one, I don't know how to take up the collection. I've never done it. And number two, what would it look like the priest, going with the basket? Catholics they're not accustomed to that. Oh, they said, don't worry about it. We'll tell you what to do. You'll be fine. We'll, blah, 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 blah. So when it came time, I removed the white collar, it's like a little tab thing. You can pull it out. Well, now I look like a priest that's trying not to look like a priest. I don't think I fooled anybody. In fact, there was one family in the pew. They recognized me. Father Tim, is that you? Oh, yeah. Well, what happened? I think they thought I got, demoted to usher, I don't know. Anyway, it was very interesting, taking up the collection. The way that people responded was interesting. The little kids, oh my God, they loved putting money into the basket, the little ones. Of course, it wasn't their money, right? And then some people put in envelopes. Other people just reached in their pocket and put in whatever change or whatever loose bills they had. Some people didn't give it all, and I know, online giving, so not everybody, and sometimes people just write one check a month, that kind of thing. But there was one demographic, there was one group of people who universally did not give anything. Universally. This one demographic. I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the Irish. Who do you think it was? Now, don't take offense over here. I see some people in this demographic. It was teenagers. Okay? Now, teenagers didn't give anything. And, it made me think about when I was a teenager. I didn't give anything. I would never have thought of giving anything. I had a job, though, and I had money for gas and going out with my friends. So it wasn't like I didn't have any resources, but, it just didn't occur to me that my contribution would even matter much. Anyway, it made me think. Because I heard a story about a pastor of a parish, and he decided that he didn't want to know how much money his parishioners gave. He didn't want to know because he wanted to treat everyone the same. And he thought, maybe even subconsciously, he'd defer to those people who, were more generous and that kind of thing. So he decided, as a safeguard, he would never look at the financial records of the people of the parish. Well, I suppose that's a noble purpose, but obviously Jesus didn't feel that way. He didn't share that idea. Because in today's gospel, he sits right across from the treasury, and he watches people and what they're giving. And not only does he do that, but he is taking a inventory, a kind of an unannounced competition. And at the end, he announces a winner. He proclaims a poor widow. This poor widow has given more than all the rest. They gave from their surplus. She has given from her want all that she had to live on. Now again, I don't know, I certainly wouldn't want to comment on how much generosity the parishioners give to the church, because people are all at different levels, and some people give not monetary, but they give time and they give talent and they do all kinds of things that are valuable to the community. But again, Jesus would have no problem in commenting on the generosity. I was thinking now, if we could see, like the treasure chest that Jesus would put what he held to be valuable, if we had a glimpse of it, I think we find some pretty strange things there. We'd find a broken bottle of perfume. It belonged to Mary, the sister of Martha and Lazarus. And when Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem to die, he stopped at their home, and Mary, sensing his sadness, breaks over this expensive perfume and anoints his head and feet. And we also find a cup, a simple, plain cup. Don't know who it belonged to, doesn't matter. Could have belonged to anybody, because Jesus said, not even a cup of cold water given in my name will go without reward. And of course, there would be the 2 coins of this poor widow. Those 2 coins, Jesus would have held up those to be valuable. They were probably made of copper, maybe worth a few cents, but in Jesus' eyes, they were pure gold, because they symbolized something that he deeply valued. And what he deeply valued was the spirit of giving, the spirit of sacrificial giving. Love never reaches its pinnacle until it includes a willingness on my part to sacrifice. So these coins of this poor widow stood for that kind of sacrificial giving. And whenever the work of Jesus is being accomplished, you can know that it's because it's being accomplished by people who have that same spirit, that spirit of generosity, to give and to do what no law could require, giving willingly and giving sacrificially. And there's another thing that I so appreciate about this story, because this widow, this woman, she has given us all a challenge that we can never forget. If I ever start thinking that I'm generous, I'm a generous giver, I need to remember this woman. I need to remember her sacrificial spirit, where most of us, and myself included, we give out of our surplus. We give out of what's left over. She had and gave everything she had to live on. Now, I have never done that. I don't know if I ever will. I don't know maybe if we even should. But I do know this. I can never be boastful about my giving. Never be boastful about a sacrificial spirit as long as I remember this woman. As long as I remember her, she will always humble me. She not only has given us all a challenge of generosity, but she also gives us encouragement. Sometimes it seems that there's so much to do, and we have so little to do it with. And we're tempted not to do anything, just to give up in despair. So in hours like that, let's remember this woman. Let's remember her and take heart. She shows us that in the eyes of Jesus, no gift is too small. No gift too small to be accepted, and no talent too little. No talent too little to be used. We thank God for this generous, nameless widow who gave us such a beautiful example of love.